Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is abundance teacher and money coach, Jody Lynn Craven.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Oh, I did it. I got back in time. Joy knocked me out of the studio.
Oh. He's trying to have fun with you today.
He is, yeah. He stepped on my keyboard and all of a sudden everything went black. Like, no, don't do that.
Wrong button, Joy.
I mean, thank you for thinking of me, but just not in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just looking like, what are you talking about? Leave me alone. But today's topic is celebration, and it actually seems kind of appropriate because one of the reasons I thought about celebration is we don't do a lot of it as humans. I mean, we do some, right? You know, we'll celebrate at a wedding. You know, if there's a get together, we'll have a party, you know, that kind of thing. But so often we don't celebrate all of the stuff that goes on in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was reminded of it this week. As you know, we had a pretty major snowstorm here on the East Coast on Sunday. And in the midst of that snowstorm, I didn't tell you this, but in the midst of the snowstorm, I got a text message from my brother that my niece's father, it's my sister's ex, who they were never married, but they had a child. Her father died of a heart attack in the middle of the snow.
Oh, wow.
And so she's in the process now of preparing a celebration of life that fits who he was. And it made me realize there are lots of different ways that we use that word celebration. But even there, that's just something that we do at the end of a person's life.
Yeah.
So once again, it's special occasion type stuff.
Yep.
But not celebrating day to day.
No.
And we tend to overlook how important that is, don't we?
Mm-hmm. I think we're more geared to the big events, like celebrating those things, the major milestones of life. And something that I do with my coaching group is we call them abundance magic moments, which is anything like abundance is so vast. It's not just money, it's love, joy, appreciation, like all of these different things, the life that you truly desire. So it really opens it up. And that's when we have our call every month, that's what we open the floor with is abundance magic, and we celebrate.
Okay.
And what that practice has taught me is to mark the moments that are every day. And I know it's challenged people in the group because every month I'm going to ask you, what was your abundance magic for this month? So they're constantly keeping a tally, but it also goes with the brain and the way our brain works because of the reticular activating system.
Mm-hmm.
What we're focused on expands. So when we're focused on catching the moments in our lives that we can celebrate and logging them and celebrating them with intention, your brain goes actively searching for more of those moments, which is a game changer.
It's true, yeah. And not only does it go searching for them, but it also starts to recognize that they don't have to be big moments.
Yeah.
They can be small moments too. You can celebrate almost anything, really.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
Right. So the question isn't whether you can, the question is, will you?
Will you?
Yeah.
Yes. Why do you think most people don't?
Oh, God, there are a few reasons, I think. One of them is we live in a world of contrast, and we live in a world of contrast with people who dive into the contrast headfirst on a regular basis to the point where, and this is what leads up to all the problems, I think, where we focus so much on the negative because of that world of contrast that it becomes our default. It becomes our primary way of dealing with the world.
Yeah.
And you do that long enough, you're not going to do a whole lot of celebrating, first of all.
No.
And second of all, you're going to mess up your mindset pretty good.
Totally. And your wiring.
And your wiring, absolutely. Which is what you and your group are trying to unwire. You're trying to reverse that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, the practice I learned from, I don't even remember where I learned it. It was another practitioner that wrote a book or like had podcasts or things like that. And they were talking about what happens when you celebrate.
Okay.
And this is why I picked it up and turned it into practice in our core class. But when you celebrate, when you're like big and expansive, like woo, like all into it, the brain automatically stops and wakes up. It's like an alert point. It's like, oh, what's happening? What's happening? What's going on? I need to pay attention.
Right.
And I use that philosophy to help rewire the brain towards abundance instead of away from it. Because if you're stopping every time there's something great and making a big deal of it, then again, we're rewiring the brain to see more of that instead of the contrast.
Which is huge, because that changes the entire experience that you have in life.
Absolutely, it does.
In every area of life. That's the thing that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about something that just fixes what happens after lunch.
No.
I mean, it does that too. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, but it's so much more broad and expansive than that.
Yeah. It's not very often that we have tools that give us that much latitude, that much power. But there is one, and that just takes me back to that first question. Why don't we do it more often? Yeah. We have this tremendous tool at our disposal.
Yeah. When I think about it for myself, the first thing that came up was this thought of like, so what? Like, that's so insignificant. But in saying that, I think a lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to celebrate that my car started or whatever, like like something so insignificant. But it's so important to stop at those little things, because the little things turn into big things.
They do. And it doesn't take long.
It's a big snowball effect.
Oh yeah, appropriate adjective, by the way, for this time of year. Just mentioning.
That's right. For both of us, at least.
That's right. Anyone in the Northern Hemisphere, you know what we're talking about. Unless you live in Florida, I mean, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's true. We have all these opportunities that occur in our lives that we skip. I've been noticing myself, and I'm trying to do more. I'm trying to find ways to be more celebratory. But it's tricky, because when you're in society, when you're socializing with other people, if they aren't on that same wavelength, you can look kind of like an idiot, celebrating everything that happens. Like, oh, he's doing that thing again. You get all that negative vibe going on. So I don't know about you. I kind of do it privately to myself and low key it outside. I do it so people can see that I'm celebrating, but I do it in such a way that isn't going to throw them so far out of their vibe that they're uncomfortable. Yeah.
And then question you about it, and then you got to explain. And,
you got to explain everything, right?
It kills your vibe, literally. You're like, I was happy, and now I'm being interrogated.
Being interrogated, right? But nevertheless, I'm also finding that even if you try it just a little bit, if you just take the time to do it somewhat, the vibration that comes from that pays off a lot more quickly than you might think, and not just in your own life, but in terms of the people that surround you in your life.
Absolutely.
So like I was talking about, when you're socializing, I'm finding that just by giving more attention to celebrating little things, people I'm interacting with are people who celebrate little things. It's interesting how that plays out.
Yeah, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Oh yeah. And it's not like I was like, I wasn't being selective about it. I wasn't curating, saying, okay, you're going to be my friend. You're not going to. I wasn't doing that.
No.
I was just going out into social groups, being who I want to be. And that's what the groups are turning into. That's fascinating. Because that's pure vibe. That's pure LOA at that point. That's pure vibration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Really fascinating.
It is fascinating that you kind of like wedge out the people who aren't on the same wavelength as you, or not open to it. At least if they're open, then they're listening. That's something that I actually found about my husband. When he was off work and I had started, my coaching programs and stuff like that, he was always here, but he would be in like the kitchen or like wherever. We have a, very open workspace / living space.
Right.
But but I didn't realize how much he was listening to the things that I was saying. Like, I mean, he listens to me, but like was really deepening the experience by just listening and, you know, practicing different things or mulling different things around in his mind of what I had said and how that really opened him up. Like, he's even said to me, you know, I thought it was a little weird, some of the things that you do and things that you did when I first met you. But he's like, my mom was like that.
Oh,
and
really?
So, and I never got the chance to meet her because she passed like right before we met.
Oh,
yeah. But she was like that. So he was open to it, even though he didn't understand the changes that he has made. Like, he's a more positive person today than he was when we met. Just from listening and watching me do that and then taking it on. And it's so funny, when we went to Hawaii just recently, I'm always like celebrating the wins, and great things always happen to me, like just awesome stuff. There's lots of abundance magic, and I'm celebrating those things. We literally get off the plane and we go to the car place, and there is a bunch of people that are also going to the same car place because, you know, in Hawaii, you get there like late from Canada, at least. You get there late in the evening and everything's like waiting for you, but they're supposed to be closed. So he's like, oh God, we're gonna have a huge line. We went, and I was like, no, it'll be fine, whatever, right? We went, we were like the first ones off the bus, the first ones in line. And then we got the perfect lady, and the lady's like, okay, I have like a Kia, blah, blah, blah for you. And it's like, oh gosh, a Kia? I can't be seen driving a Kia. And she's like, oh, no problem. Do you want the Jeep? And he's like, yeah. Like, are you going to charge me more? She's like, no. Like, he like grabbed the keys, run, start the car, you know, like we get in, he's like, I can't believe that. And I was like, we got to celebrate, because when we looked at, you know, actually ordering the Jeep online to reserve that, it was $1,000 more than the one we picked, and she didn't upcharge us at all. Like,
that's fantastic.
Great way to start the vacation. Free stuff. Yeah.
By the way, what he was doing, and I know you know this already, but what he was doing for listeners, he was celebrating. Exactly. I mean,
he
wasn't consciously saying, I'm going to celebrate this instant, but he just got all excited, and that is celebration.
100%. I think it's the noticing of it and like paying attention to what is actually going on, and then finding that perspective where you can celebrate, whatever that looks like. It's not a party. You don't have to have a party every time. You could if you wanted to, but it's up to your interpretation. What does celebration feel like?
That's right.
You know?
Well, that's just it. You just touched on the magic word, feel. What
does
it feel like? Because you can experience anything. You can experience a pile of dirty dishes, and if it feels good, it's a celebration. It's not a pile of dirty dishes. It's a celebration.
Absolutely.
You can experience a fine dining room, and if you feel miserable, it's going to feel like crap. I don't care how pretty it is. It's going to feel like crap. Yeah.
Absolutely. Or if it's a party in your honor and you're miserable, you're not going to feel very honored.
No.
But on the contrast, it's so interesting because, like, even doing the dishes, we take all of these things, most people do, for granted. You know, the simple task of getting up and going to do the dishes. You know, I have 2 hands and 2 arms and 2 feet and 2 legs, you know, that all work in unison to get me to, you know, the sink. And to be able to stand for 20 minutes and do the dishes. There's people that can't do that. People that don't have the same function. And like, that's another deeper layer of like being intentional and celebrating all the things you do have.
Sure. Well, what you're also touching on for me is how we often have guests on the program, usually have guests on the program who come in and talk about their crash and burn moments, right?
Yeah.
And those crash and burn moments, it's still astonishing to me how consistently the same tale comes out, how they went through the crash and burn moment. They never want to go through it again, but it's the best thing that ever happened in their lives.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that it happened. This is another instance of that, because like you were just describing the whole routine about standing at the kitchen sink doing the dishes for 20 minutes. There was a time in my life, I mean, I did not really have a great upbringing in the sense of being shown, here's how you actually do the basics of living. I didn't get that. partly because my mom wasn't really good at it anyway, but partly because it just didn't get it. So when I first was on my own, I mean, my place was a disaster. It really was. After growing up a bit more, and then later on getting married and living in a relationship for 23 years, now I don't even think of doing the dishes as a chore anymore. Because for me, it's a way of creating how do I describe it? It creates a feeling of stability and safety by doing the dishes. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I have like a real life example if you want one.
Okay, yeah.
Well, actually a couple.
Okay.
They're two almost exact same scenarios, but I didn't figure it out until the second one. The
Okay.
first one, my mom has had some mental health issues, and she had a bipolar episode when I was like 12, 13, somewhere in there. And she left a note saying that she was leaving. And we came home from school and we saw the note, and my brother immediately broke down. And like, I was the one that had to call my dad because he was still at work and tell him that she left and that there was this note. And I remember the family congregated, like my bigger sister Wanda was there. She came after my dad got home from work, and my auntie and my grandma. So there's a few people that were around, and everyone was in the kitchen, and my brother was having a really hard time and was bawling his face off. And I immediately got up and I started doing the dishes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I never really understood why I did that, to like where that came from, whatever. And then when I was done, I went down to my bedroom and then I cried my face off. My auntie came to be there for me because she heard me crying and whatever. And I kind of chalked it up to I needed to be strong, or I felt like I needed to be strong. And that was there for sure in a part of it. And then fast forward, like, several years later to like last year, there was another individual in our family that was having a mental health crisis. And literally after dealing with this individual that I care so much about for the day or whatever, I came home and I was like wired, like the emotion from the trauma from before coming up and the new trauma and the things that were going on at this time. I literally got up and I did the dishes.
Yeah.
And in that moment, though, the second time I caught myself, it wasn't completely unconscious.
Well, you realized it. Okay.
I realized it. Here I am doing the dishes.
And
why am I doing the dishes? And it was, what does this make me feel? Or like, what do I equate to doing the dishes and having a clean kitchen? And it was safety and comfort and even expansiveness when the kitchen is clean.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, that's okay. I'm okay with that. That soothes me. That helped me. It was something that I could control and something that I could contribute. And I was exhausted in that moment. So I was able to stop doing the dishes and say, this isn't what I need right now, but thank myself for the lesson of I was looking for comfort and safety in this moment. And I was able to remind myself that I have that comfort. I have that safety. I'm in my home. I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it was a game changer learning it.
Now, is that something we would normally think of as a celebration? Probably not.
No.
But it is.
Should. Yeah. It was a huge eye opener for me. I finally understood why I do certain things. And then once you understand or have that awareness, then you have the ability to change, to move, to not be so singular in the way you approach things.
Or as the way we often describe it, to not be so stuck.
Yeah, exactly. Because before it was completely unconscious pattern.
Yeah.
I just did it because that's what felt safe. That's what I felt like I could control. That gave me comfort. But I didn't know that's what I was doing until I landed up there the second time. And I was like, oh, yay. And I did celebrate in a different way. It wasn't like a woohoo, I celebrated and I'm really excited, but it was I stopped and acknowledged that. Okay, I got you, baby Jody. You want to feel comfort. You want to feel safety. Is this the best way in this moment with how you're feeling right now? Maybe not. Okay, let's shift. Let's go lay on the couch and cuddle with a puppy, or let's listen to some music or do something else that you can decompress.
And if it was a good way to deal with it at that moment, then thank you for that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. No judgment of what it was. It just was a recognition of, I'm giving myself what I need. How beautiful.
Now, as you were telling that story, Joy comes over and he jumps into my lap. Well, he does it Joy style. He very carefully crawls in, but nevertheless, it's the equivalent of jumping into the lap.
Yeah.
And I was realizing as you were telling the story, I'm petting him, I'm stroking him, he's rubbing up against me and so forth. We're celebrating this moment in the middle of a conversation I'm having with you.
Yes.
That's an important thing because that means celebration doesn't have to be limited to a linear progression of things.
No.
You can actually multitask celebration.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we just put too many parameters on what celebration is. It's a party, it's a balloon, it's a cake, it's a whatever. Celebration is whatever you want it to be. I think it really just comes down to the feeling. Because whether you're at an actual party or you're having a party in your energy field, if you will, both can feel the exact same. Like me sitting here by myself, I can exhibit the same thing. Last week we were talking to, I can't remember his name, Matt, maybe, the hypnotherapist. He was talking about think about a lemon and imagine the lemon.
Yeah.
It's the same skill set of if you can get your salivatory glands or whatever going by thinking about a lemon and you're experiencing the taste of a lemon without there actually being a lemon, there could be an entire party without being at a party.
In fact, science backs it up, doesn't it? Because science has taught us that we can experience something in our minds and our brains can't tell the difference between the actual experience and the imagining of it.
That's right. And they even say that witnesses that have witnessed big tragedies, like something big happening, that their memory right after the incident is more reliable than a year from the incident. I think they did this with 9/11 survivors or people that were around. What they said right after the incident versus what they said a year later was completely different. And the year later story is the one that they would go to die for.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't the same. So I think we make a lot of things up.
Well, another way to say the same thing is that we interpret everything that comes through our senses.
Yeah.
And so much of what we interpret, we fill in the gap on. Partly because there's so much data coming in, we can't process it all anyway. Our brains fit. That's why you mentioned the RAS. That's why we have an RAS to filter stuff out. Otherwise, we'd all be autistic.
Exactly.
We
couldn't handle it. Yeah.
Yeah. It would just be too much to handle. So we have to fill in the gaps. Well, that means there's going to be in the terms that get used with photographs, there'd be a lossy component to it, right? You're going to lose some data, and hopefully it's not going to be data that is terribly significant to whatever it is that you're paying attention to. But there's going to be some loss. And then you can also go the other direction where there's just not enough data. So you can actually have an event that was lossy in the sense that you lost some of the data that came in, you retained a piece of it. Later on, you couldn't remember the other piece of it, so you filled in the gap with your imagination.
Yep.
So
and
that's
people do that all the time.
Oh, yeah. That's like normal behavior.
It is very normal behavior. But what it makes me think about is how much of my past and the way that I think it went is absolutely true.
Yeah, that's kind of unnerving, isn't it? When you realize how much we're able to do that, how much of my memory is not accurate.
But also freeing. I look at it from the freeing perspective, because if you're stuck on a point, this person said something and it made me feel this way, and this is what they meant. And I always challenge people, including myself. I started with myself in everything that I coach, but the first thing I started to challenge myself was the who says. Like, did this person actually say that to me? The easiest one I have is, I was thinking about being a good wife and I was really beating myself up. And, as a good wife, I should do this and I should do that and I should do this. And, these are the expectations of me as a good wife. And then I went, wait a minute. Did I ever ask my husband? No, I never had that question as intense as that, like, or intentional of like, what do you expect from me as your wife? Never asked that question. And when I did, because I had the courage to ask, it did not align with what I thought he was going to say or what I was thinking that he was thinking. And it was what I thought he was thinking that was putting all this pressure on me and making me miserable. But it all came from me, which is freeing. So then I can go back to that and say, okay, what else? What else is there that I've assumed meant something and filled in a gap somewhere? And if it doesn't feel good, can I shift that to a different perspective to feel something different?
It's reminding me, this whole conversation is reminding me of a topic that we addressed here on the show many years ago about how it is that, I mean, there are some people who literally advocate the idea that you can change your past by thinking about it differently.
Yeah.
And I recall the first times I was exposed to that idea, I resisted it because, well, no, you really can't change what's happening in the past or what did happen in the past. But now through this conversation, we're exposing literally how we do change what happened in the past.
Yeah.
To the point where most of us would be pretty hard pressed to say, we know 100% for sure what happened in the past.
Yeah. Because do you?
More importantly, how would I know? How could I be sure?
Exactly. How would you know? How could you be sure? Yeah.
And the answer is I couldn't be.
No.
There's too much data that suggests that I'm either filling in the blank or taking data away and making it lossy, one way or the other. The more you do that, the more you're changing the story. I don't care how honest you are. It has nothing to do with honesty.
No. Yeah.
It has to do with perspective and what you are remembering.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Powerful.
So, yes, it is. And like you said, it's also freeing because when we come to not only recognize that it's true, but also be okay with it, because that's really what the other piece is, right? Being okay with it.
Yeah.
Because you could flip out on it. If you really want to, you could flip out on the fact, oh my God, my memory is such a mess. There are people who will do that.
Yeah.
Right? But if you choose not to do that, if you choose to be accepting of it, that's where that freedom comes from that you're talking from.
Mm-hmm.
That freedom to not only realize that you're not locked into a past, but also to realize you can make it shaped any way you really want to.
Yeah.
Now, I think a lot of us would actually want to make it as true to form, as true to reality as we can make it. I know I would. But even in saying that, I know I can't make it 100%. There's going to be some lossiness in there.
Yeah. And why would you want to make it as true to reality as possible?
For me, it's a way of feeling grounded. It's a way of feeling like life makes sense. Because I think I've told you, particularly when I was growing up, so often the thought occurred to me that these people around me are crazy. This whole life is crazy. There are behavior here, people behaving in ways that I look, I say, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, this is at a time when actually you would not use the F word, so I didn't actually say it that way in my mind. But that's pretty much what it added up to.
Yeah, that's what was going on. Yeah.
That was what was going on. And it happened a lot. I mean, we're not talking like once a month or something. Like every day.
Yeah.
I'd have a thought like that one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I really wanted to have the stability of a reality that I could always count on to be true.
Yeah.
Now, what I've learned since then is it isn't all that important what actually happened.
No.
It really isn't. In the grand scheme of things. I mean, one of my favorite, I'm not much of a meme person. I don't follow memes very much, but I do have a few that I like. One of my favorite memes is a picture of the galaxy taken through a telescope. And there's this little speck of light over here, and there's an arrow pointing to it and said, that's where you're trying to figure out how to pay your mortgage.
Yep. This is you and your problem.
That's it. Yeah.
To the vastness that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at it that way, you realize it's really not that important.
No. And it will get figured out. Like
it will, one way or another. Yeah.
If the world will still turn and the stars will still shine and the sun will still come up, well, the likelihood is pretty good that everything is figure outable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, there is a challenge that comes along with this, and this is a challenge that I think a lot of people are experiencing, particularly in what we today call the great political divide going on in the Western world, especially here in the U.S.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent in Canada, but it's still there too. That divide is based on a lot of different things, but if I were to like funnel them down to one particular idea, it's I don't like the decision you're making because I think it's going to affect me badly.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the blame comes from, right? I got to blame you for what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
And that comes from a desire to have that stability I referred to earlier. Belief that you need to behave in a certain way in order for me to feel safe and stable. So there's the challenge. The challenge is, how do you navigate waters in a world where you really can't anchor your reality to someone else's behavior without being disappointed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for me, I don't know if this is just the way my brain is wired, or maybe it's part experience and I've wired it as such. But I always think about how it's always working out and how I am safe within, like, stop looking for the things outside of myself to feel safe, because I can play devil's advocate till the cows come home on both sides.
Sure.
Like, money is safety. Well, what about, Princess Diana? She died. She was rich. Like, didn't save her,
Really.
like, and there's lots of people that it's not an absolute truth that this has to be for this other thing to be. There's very few absolute truths like that out there in this world, where you can't find something on the other side of it or an opposite. So that made me realize.
I would reduce that down to one. I know of one absolute. It's the only absolute I know of.
Tell me.
The law of attraction.
Yeah.
It always applies.
Yeah.
Even the law of gravity. This is what pisses me off. The law of gravity doesn't always apply. That really pisses me off.
It doesn't. Exactly. But that's the point that I'm making, is that there's a lot of things that aren't absolutely true. I would agree with you there that law of attraction is one that absolutely applies everywhere.
Can you think of others? I mean, I really can't think of any others.
No, up to this point, I haven't gotten to any. That was the first one.
That was
so
the first
thank you
one.
for
Okay.
that one. Yeah. No, because
that wasn't even original for me. I learned that one from Abraham Hicks. They said that was the only absolute they've been able to find in the entire universe.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've looked at all the absolutes, because I think we think in absolutes, that this is absolutely true. Whatever, this person's an asshole.
Look how often we use that phrase. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Right. Like, oh, when this, political party is in power, we're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
You can look at history and find both. Where
absolutely.
it was good, where it was bad.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's you can see it everywhere, which for me, that made me realize that it didn't matter whatever was going on outside of me. It was more important what was going on inside. Because again, going back to the celebration, like wherever you are, whether you're at a party or you're having a party in your own mind, you can have a party in your own mind, or you can feel absolutely alone in the middle of a party. The feeling is.
I'm going to propose another absolute. It just occurred to me in the way you phrased that.
Yeah.
The other absolute, and there are going to be people who are going to disagree with me on this, I think, but the other absolute is identity.
Okay, tell me more.
I am. I'm absolutely convinced of that. I am.
That there is an I am, or
that I am.
That I
am.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm convinced of that.
Because, there's no I am and then a thing. Like, it's just so open to whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think you could question the tail end of that if you were to say, I am a blah, 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 like fill in the blank. But I am, no. I think that is absolute.
So we got two absolutes today. Hey,
yeah.
we're starting a list.
Yeah, this is rare. Very rare.
Now, I have no idea what item 3 is going to be, but, 2 items on that list, that's a pretty good list as far as I'm concerned,
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But which means everything else can change. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If nothing is absolute, then it also means that you don't need this political party to be in power to feel safe. Because
that's a concept that'll scare a lot of people.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about if I held this belief system, and it doesn't matter which party, it really doesn't matter, that I feel I have to have this party in place to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you travel to another country. Do you feel unsafe in another country? Maybe, perhaps, probably not, because you booked a vacation there. So probably not. Do you know anything about their political parties and who's in power? Probably not. Most people don't. Most people have no idea what's going on in other countries, and you still feel safe. So we just broke that absolute. Because if you can go somewhere else and it doesn't matter, why does it matter where you're standing right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought.
Well, this is where introspection comes in, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really what we're talking about. Whenever we're talking about afraid of somebody else, or afraid of a political party, or afraid of fill in the blank, what we're really talking about is our relationship with ourselves. We don't think of it that way, but that's really what it all adds up to.
Yeah. It is, and how secure you really feel with who you are.
Yeah.
Who I am.
Yep. I told you last summer, there was somebody I was seeing when we broke up. I told you how she told me that I held up a harsh mirror. And no, I wasn't laughing at the time, because it was, you go through a breakup, it's painful. So there's all that. But as I look back, that's a pretty funny statement.
Yeah.
Because a mirror is just a mirror. It's just a reflective device. That's all. There's nothing harsh about a mirror. It's just a piece of glass that reflects. That's all it is.
That's right. It's your interpretation that's harsh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who's harsh? The mirror? No.
Person looking in it.
Looking in it. Yeah. And that's so interesting, because we are so harsh on ourselves. I think the hardest thing about developing and exploring and had this introspection conversation, like even getting to the point where you could start unpacking some of this, is you have to be able to look at you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are afraid to do that because we're so harsh on the world around us and on ourselves. So it's scary when you're that harsh to look at yourself and feel like you're going to be okay after. It feels like this big void of like, I'm going to hate myself, or I'm going to hate all of these things. And I actually used to think that before I really started to dive into personal development, like they're going to find out.
They're going to find out.
Yeah. But like I don't know. I just always had this feeling they're going to find out. And that was in my head all the time. And I eventually, when I dove into it, like, what do you mean? Like, what are they going to find out? They're going to find out that I'm not good. Oh, interesting. So I think I'm not good, or the things that I've done, not good, or whatever. And that's looking at yourself and being able to apply compassion and love in that conversation. It's a game changer, and it's a difficult thing to do. A difficult journey.
A lot of people have self-esteem issues, self-love issues. That's why.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That exact behavior. Absolutely.
And I get it, because everybody else is judging everybody else, and we're judging everybody else, and like we're so hard on ourselves.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah. The most like epic moment, or one of the most epic moments in my life, I cheated on my ex when we were still together. I kissed another boy. And
my God.
Yeah, anyway, it was I believe it was like my opportunity to crash and burn things, get out, whatever, right? But when I told him, because I'm very bad at keeping secrets like that, so, literally get off the plane.
You obviously did not get the memo on what to do with secrets. No,
my face didn't get the memo. Like my brain can wrap, the feeling around it, but my face did not get the memo. It just everything. So literally kissed a boy the next day, get on the plane to come home. And he's picking me up at the airport, and I make it like 15 minutes in the truck. Like not very far. It was a very bad and explosive conversation. And it was a very like abusive relationship, not physically, but hey, it was gonna get there. Like he smashed a hole in his windshield when I told him.
That's
So
pretty close.
yeah, it was scary enough anyway. But when we had gotten home, he had said to me, everybody's gonna hate you because of what you did. And I already felt that. Like, I'm an awful person. How could I ever be loved again? How could I ever love myself again? Like, I am a dirtbag. Who does that? I was really beating myself up, obviously, before he had said that. And then he said that, and I believed him. And my one best friend, she's a few years older than me, like 15 or 16 years older than I am. But she's been my best friend, like ride or die for years and years and years. So she met me when I had first started like dating him and, whatever, right? Like we've been friends for almost 20 years now.
Okay.
So she was there through it all. She didn't like him. I don't remember that. But she says that now.
She hit it well.
Yeah, she hit it well. That's right. So I was terrified to tell her because she's gonna hate me and I'm gonna lose my best friend. And I'm already going through all this turmoil or whatever. And, a side part of the story was I wasn't allowed to call her or talk to her. So when I went to work for the first time after I told him and was by myself because I went to work ridiculously early, I was like, okay, I'm going to call her. So I called her while she's on her way to work. It's like 7 a.m. And I'm like hyperventilating, crying.
Oh my.
Yeah. And I'm like, and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no. And she's like, what is going on, Jody? What's happening? And I was like, you're gonna hate me. And she's like, what? And I'm just bawling my face off. And I was smoking outside and it's winter. I'm all by myself and it's dark and whatever. And I'm just like, you're gonna hate me. And she said, well, what did you do? And I was like, you're just going to hate me. And she's like, did you kill somebody? And I was like, no. And she's like, babe, like, just tell me what you did. Just tell me what you did. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And so I tell her I cheated on him. And she's like, oh, that's it. Just like that. Oh, that's it. And she's such a sweet woman. Oh, that's it. And I was like, what? She said, Jody, there's nothing you could do that would make me love you any less. And that was like the moment of like a turning point, a huge turning point in my life. Because if she could love me that much and forgive me, it gave me the opportunity to love myself with equal measure.
Did you feel like you were able to do that at that point?
Yeah, I started to. I mean, I've still felt a lot of shame and, like all of that stuff. But really that became one of the tools that I teach. Like when I'm really struggling to like move past what I'm thinking, like I'm thinking I'm a horrible person, I made a mistake or a bad decision or any of those things, when I'm like really hard on myself, I think about what would she say to me?
Really?
And she's always nicer to me than I am to myself. So that helped me out of a lot of different perspectives because of the way that she handled that situation and just how she just purely left me. Like, okay, it's no big deal, whatever. Like, do you think you did it on purpose so that you could leave him? Well, never thought about that. But yeah, I mean, looking back, obviously that's what I was doing. I didn't know how to leave. So it's not right. But it's what happened. And I can disconnect the two. And the situation wasn't right. And the action wasn't what I would want for myself or anyone around me. And even though I did it, it's not an absolute truth that I am bad. That's not the case.
Not even close.
Yeah, exactly. So, but most people don't get there.
That's the interesting thing. That's one of the things that's driven this show for a number of years, because I've wanted to explore that question. That's really what that is. It's a question. Why is it that we have so much trouble getting there? Why is it we have so much trouble making these shifts? Why is it that we find it so challenging? Why do we feel so stuck? Why do we feel that all these things are in our way, and so on and so forth? And I've long since come to the conclusion we're the ones doing it to ourselves. So that ties in with what you were talking about before. But it's fascinating, all the different ways that basically we block ourselves. and usually do it without realizing that what we're doing is blocking ourselves.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
You would think we would notice that at some point. I mean, maybe it takes doing a show like this on Celebration to notice something like that.
Hopefully somebody's listening and they, take a different perspective today.
I'm sure that's
celebrate that they did.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, what a celebration. Like that, in my teaching, I teach about money. And most people are like, I ask them, why do you want money? I want to make an impact. That was like the number one thing. I want to make an impact. And everybody thinks you got to be rich to do it. But I challenge you to think about the most epic moments in your life, the most like game-changing moments, the ones that struck your heart. And I bet you 99.9999999% of the time, if not 100, for me it's 100, but 99.9% of the time, they have nothing to do with money. Money never entered the conversation.
It wasn't even part of the picture.
It wasn't.
No.
At all. Because it's just a piece of paper.
That's right. Well, these days it's not even that. It's an electron these days. But
exactly. Yeah. If you're in Canada, it's plastic.
It's plastic.
Money. Yeah. Our money isn't even paper anymore. It's plastic, so you can't burn it.
Right. Well, you can try. It makes this really bad stench, but yeah,
really
you can try to.
Yeah, they even added like a maple scent to it or something. Scratch and sniff.
Of course, it's from Canada. Maple syrup. Why not? Yeah.
Exactly. Weird. Who's sniffing money anyway? It's just gross stuff. But
you touched on something else that I want to bring in too. You mentioned how it was that you had this mentor who was able to help you to love yourself more because you realized how much she loved you.
Yeah.
And what you indirectly touched on was something that I became really consciously aware of for the first time about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, maybe 6 years ago, which is just how rough we are on ourselves. Just we are tougher on ourselves than we are on anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's universal. I mean, the first time I was exposed to it, I didn't want to face it because I figured it was just me. And then I realized pretty quickly, no, it's not just me. We're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're really good at it too. Which is
we're really good at beating ourselves up. Yeah.
In the process of realizing that, though, that is how I began to give myself slack.
Yeah.
Because, well, I guess it's not just me. So I don't have to feel ashamed about it anymore. That's a big part of it, by the way. Feeling ashamed of the fact that you beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel ashamed of it at all. It's just a recognition.
Yeah.
And then once you recognize it, you can choose differently.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity.
It is. And that's where people talk about doing work on themselves. That's, to me, that is the most important piece of work to do, is the one that says, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay as I am.
Yeah.
And I don't need to keep beating myself up. And I don't need to keep holding myself to high standards that there really is no need for me to hold me to. And that the only reason that the need exists is because I put the need there in the first place.
Yeah.
Because I decided that I had to.
Yeah.
The only reason to do that is because I did. That's the only reason. It's not societally imposed upon me. It was never imposed upon me by my parents. I mean, many people will tell you the story about how it was imposed on them by their parents, but guess what? In the final analysis, you did it to yourself. Your parents may have influenced you to do it, but you had to pull the trigger. You had to be the one to say, yes, you're right. I am such a miserable, horrible person.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
To me, that's freeing, because when you realize that, then you realize, well, that means all I have to do is change my mind.
Exactly. And then you start the work. How do you change your mind? How do you let yourself off the hook?
And for me, it's one step at a time.
Exactly. 100%. There's no one path, one way to get anywhere, ever. So it's just baby steps. And it's going to take time. Like, I mean, depending on how old you are, you've had years of practice of doing this thing, of beating yourself. You know?
I piled up a lot of baggage, let me tell you.
Exactly. So it becomes like, our brains are computers. So it just becomes the automatic default setting. So this is what I do. And that's okay, because then you can celebrate and wake your brain up when you wake up in the middle of a pattern and slowly walk it back piece by piece. And I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be kinder to myself. I want to love myself more. I want to appreciate myself more. And just the intention starts the ball rolling.
And then the really amazing part is when you get that ball rolling, you don't even have to reach the point where you are no longer beating yourself up ever. You don't have to get that far. You just have to get to the point where you've changed it a little bit.
Exactly.
What's astonishing to me is how quickly that translates into your relationships with others without you doing anything.
100%. It changes everything. Your entire frequency and the frequency of everyone around you.
It drives certain people away.
Yeah.
Which is, in that case, a good thing, because the people it drives away are the people who refuse to stop beating up on themselves.
Exactly.
They're not the ones you want anyway.
Yeah. And then it brings other people closer. And what I've seen too, which was the most miraculous to me, is it changed the way other people behaved.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've heard that lots in law of attraction. Like, you know, you change the way that you see things and everything changes, or like you change the inside and the outside changes. And for a lot of things, yes, I believed that. But when it came to other people, I was like, I don't know, like they're an asshole. So you're going to continue to be an asshole. But to my surprise and delight, those people who were assholes or said asshole-ish things, they completely changed. When I changed, when I started seeing them differently, when I gave them that compassion, that love, and not even to their face, it was completely behind their back with my little journal and like journaling and practicing. I love Radical Forgiveness, the book, and they have like exercises that you can get for free if you just Google Radical Forgiveness PDF worksheets. But I would just pull out their worksheet and I'd be like, okay, this is the story I'm telling myself. This is how I feel. And they walk you through the entire process of shifting that. And I would do it over and over and over again by myself, never saying anything to this person that I, you know, have in my mind at this moment, never saying anything to them. And then all of a sudden, bam, everything changed. And I was like, holy shit, they're a completely different person. How did that happen? Like, I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. And
I've noticed it in small ways. There's a group, a meetup group that I've been participating in for socializing. And we went bowling recently. In fact, I hadn't been bowling in like 40 years, and there are actually a couple of groups that go bowling periodically, just as a socializing activity. And so I figured, well, I'm gonna get myself a bowling ball again, so I can have a ball that actually fits my hand, which is a good idea. But anyway, that's a side point. The main point I wanted to make is there was a case at one of these meetups where one of the people who was attending the bowling party was really doing well. He was scoring much higher than everybody else was. And everybody else was like tearing him down for it. And just, you know, like, well, we can't even talk to you, that kind of thing. I mean, they were trying to do it in a teasing way, but, you know, the message was pretty clear. And I thought, well, geez, I don't know. I'm not sure I really want to be a part of that. Well, the next time we got together, I had a good game. I was going really well. And I had a completely different experience from the other bowler, because they were all praising me. They were all telling me how wonderful. Wow, you're doing so well. What's your secret? And I had, of course, I had my new ball. So I was showing them, because I got my ball with what they call a fingertip grip. I was showing them the fingertip grip and so forth. But my point is, my experience was entirely different on the same kind of event in the same group, just separated by about a 2-week period. Yeah. Same people, same activity, same thing happening, 2 entirely different experiences of it.
Yep.
And I know what the difference is, because the difference is the other guy, if somebody got a spare or a strike, he was quiet. With me, if somebody gets a spare or a strike, I'm celebrating their spare or their strike.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Absolutely. So interesting, our experiences.
It is. Yeah. So much we can learn from our own experiences and from our interactions with others, observing their experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. And celebrate all of it.
And celebrate all of it. Yeah. Well, and not only that, we can celebrate the fact that we actually came up with a list of absolutes today that had 2 items on it. That was pretty good.
100%. Yes. And just the conversation that we have week upon week upon week. The reason I keep showing up. It's just a beautiful, mind-opening, heart-opening conversation every time.
Which is so much fun.
Exactly.
So much better than the other kind.
Exactly. Why wouldn't you come back for this type of conversation every week?
Well, actually, I do.
Exactly. Me too. Try and get rid of me.
I don't think I want to, and I don't think I could anyway. Well, yeah, actually, I could. I could start going negative. That would get rid of you really quick.
They probably would. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, it'd probably get rid of the show too. So
That's right. We don't. No, not 2,000 plus episodes in. We're just
yeah.
keep going.
No, we'll keep that track record going. That's a good record. I like that.
Mhm. Exactly.
Well, thank you for celebrating this with me. I appreciate that.
Thank you. It's great to celebrate each other and the world that we live in, and the smallest of things like a sunset or a sunrise, or just being with one another. They all count. They all make a difference.
They do. And I the way I know that is the way I know what I feel after we do a show like this.
Mhm.
I know you're feeling it right now too. My heart just feels like it's wide open and it's just full.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. My cup is full, running over.
There it is. Good stuff.
Mhm.
So thank you very much. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. And we will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.